Hello, everybody, and welcome to the free lesson that I have prepared for you. Today, we're looking at one of the greatest chess players of all time, Mikhail Botvinnik. In this position, he was playing white, and this is a great, great game. Whether you 1500, 1000, 2400, it's a great game because it's really so simple, but so effective while being simple. And okay, let me tell you guys how this is going to work. Basically, you see the position on your screen right now. I'm going to give you guys a time to pause and you must try think of the move. If you don't think of the move straight away, I'm going to give you a hint. So after you haven't paused, you can go through the video 5 seconds, look for the hint, and once the hint is said, then you will have a greater understanding to the idea. And if you still don't get it, you will be shown the move. But you've got 23 chances, so if you get it wrong, don't be too harsh on yourself. But okay, without further ado, let's go straight into it. Here is our first position. And pause the video now, try come up with your idea. And if you here for the hint, I will tell you that Black's queen is a big problem. Black's queen is blocking us from playing pawn to a5, and it's protecting this pawn on e5. So we want to try dislodge this queen somehow. And okay, the move is queen to e3. By the way, you guys were supposed to be pausing and doing this on your own. We are an education channel here. No entertainment. I'm here to make you get better at chess, not for you to uh, sit down with your lunch and entertain yourself. But actually, if you are eating, that's fine. Be my guest. Okay, now, here is the exact same position. What happened was an exchange on e3, and then black played bishop to g4. So, okay, it's white's move again. Pause the video, try solve it for yourself. And if you need a hint, Botvinnik tried to get out of this diagonal so that he can move this knight. But first, remember the reason for us kicking this queen that was on c5. It was so we could make a certain move. Okay, that's your hint. And the move is pawn to a5. Kick this knight off its square, force it to go backwards. And once the knight moves, now pause again if you want to try solve it yourself. And if you just want to relax, enjoy, we want the hints. Now Botvinnik decided to get out of this pin on his knight. And he did that by playing the move rook to c1. I'm saying a delay on the move so you guys can pause, or if you haven't already. But okay, now bishop takes knight. Honestly, every single person watching the video should get this move very easily. You just take back this bishop, of course. Okay, now black played the move knight to e7. And once again, it's white's move. Basically, the hint I will tell you is you want to get this rook in c1 into the game, this rook on c1 into the game, and this knight is blocking it. So if we would play rook c7 right now with the double attack. So we need to move this knight out the way. Okay, that's the hint. And the move is knight d5. In this position, Botvinnik's opponent played knight to c6. And once again, I encourage you guys to pause the video and solve the next move. And it's actually, this one should be pretty simple. We mess up the pawn structure. Knight takes f6. And once they take back, our whole point of this position is now being managed. We can finally get our rook onto the 7th rank. That's a very, very big hint for you guys. And we play the move rook to d7. Not worrying about the pawn on a5, because that will allow our other rook into the 7th rank. Okay, now, guys, this is the move that I've seen most of my students get wrong, and I think this is such a subtle move, so beautiful, and I really would encourage this move in particular to try and find this move. And our idea is we want to try win the pawn on f7. That's a hint for you guys. So make sure you pause. And this one is very beautiful. King f7, king f2, sorry, my bad. And the idea is that you want to play rook to g1 check, force the king to the h file, and then win the pawn on f7. So black decides now the pawn on b7 is protected by the rook. They're going to take on a5. Now, the next question I have for you guys. Should we continue with our plan of rook to g1? Or should we play our secondary move, which you guys should all see is rook to c7, putting the rook on the 7th rank? So we have to choose between these two options. Which one do you think is better? And I will tell you now, the answer is rook to c7. The rook is way more active on c7 than it would be on g1, and you're going to win the f7 pawn anyway. So okay, now black decided to play rook to c8. Should we take on f7? Should we take on c8 and then on f7, or should we take on f7 with the rook? Those are the options you guys should consider. And if you want to take on f7 with the rook or with the bishop, it actually transposes into the same line, so it doesn't really matter. But Botvinnik chose to take with the rook. And after rook takes c7, he takes here again with check, forcing the king to move. And now we are into our 14th move. Only 9 left. Only 9 left. So what's the idea here? Well, that's exactly what you guys clicked on this video for. Try and think of the move that Botvinnik played, and if you want the hints, this knight, that's all I'm gonna say. This knight. So in this position, white played bishop to d5. When a bishop is 4 squares away from a knight like this, it controls every single one of the knight's squares, provided the knight is on the side of the board, obviously. So a bishop on 4 squares away really controls every single one of the knight's squares, so that's an important thing you should always remember in every endgame. Okay. Now, black played the move pawn to b5. And this is a move I see most people getting wrong. The idea behind pawn to b5, you always need to look at your opponent's plan. The idea behind pawn to b5 is to play knight to c4. So what I see a lot of people getting wrong here is playing the move pawn to b4, allowing the knight to go to c4, and then taking the knight. But if you play like this, you're only gaining 1 pawn in a rook endgame. That's not very easy to win. So a much more subtle and brilliant move is simple pawn to b3. Now you have completely devastated this knight. This knight can't move anywhere without simply being taken. So that's a beautiful move. Now, once again, look at this position. This position is beautiful. Basically, look at black's king. Black's king can't even move. It's stuck in a box here. The knight can't even move. So black is just forced to be moving around with his rook. So as whites, you can decide to do basically whatever you want. And that should be the hint. Which of white's pieces is not doing anything right now? And that's the king. So a simple king walk followed here. King to g3. Black played pawn to f5. Don't take that because you will lose your bishop. What should white do? Well, simply continue the pawn walk. And after take, now which way should we take back? Well, pause the video. This one is very, very simple though. We take back with the f pawn, keeping our pawns doubled, but keeping every single black piece at bay. Okay, now black played the move king to d6. And once again, if you've been following, the next move should be fairly obvious. We just continue the king walk. King to h5. Black can't really do much. They play rook to f6. And now Botvinnik decided that he wants to or do whatever he wants in this position. He played the move pawn to h3. Side note, if you played pawn to h4, that's also fine. But Botvinnik just decided to play pawn to h3, and the very next move he played pawn to h4. He's kind of like just cramping his opponent so much. His opponent is in a chokehold, struggling to move, struggling to breathe, and he's just there chill on the side of the board. h3, h4, probably smoking his cigar. I heard that some of the chess players back in those days would bring their cigars to the board and smoke it in front of their opponents. So okay, now his opponent went rook to b6, once again just moving the rook up and down. And what's the next move you should do? Basically, every piece is on a great square. So what should happen next? Well, there's a clear weakness in black's position that you guys should make note of if you want the hint. And the move is king to g4, going for the pawn on e5. So Botvinnik's opponent plays rook to f6, trying to prevent the king from coming to f5. And now that every piece is truly on its best square, it is time for white to cash in his advantage. Time for him to try and win a knight, maybe, is your hint. So in this position, he played rook to a7. Not even attacking this pawn, but it's kind of just a waiting move actually, because the knight can't go to c6, because rook takes a6 would pin it to this rook. And he didn't play rook to e7 as the waiting move, because then knight c6 would have been possible. So this is kind of a waiting move. Another waiting move you could have considered is pawn to h5, but it's not as precise. So okay, now Botvinnik went here, and there's only one more move in this game, and his opponent resigned after this move. So try find it. I'll give you a hint. It's not king to f5, because if you play king to f5, black can play knight c6. And again, you're only winning one pawn. With this very bad pawn structure, black can have a lot of counterplay, although white is probably still winning. Botvinnik decided to play rook to e7, not allowing the knight to come back to c6 again because of the pin. And black decided he had enough and resigned in this position. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this free lesson that I gave you. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.